Welcome to the Edified Equity Podcast. My name is Dino, and here we focus on all the unique benefits associated with being a passive equity partner in an apartment syndication. You can learn more about us on the web, Facebook, iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and our award-winning blog on Bigger Pockets. If you like the content, please subscribe, like, share, comment, rate, and review. Today, I have on episode number 35, we're hanging 10 with Jason and Pili Yarusi. So let me give you a little bit of a backstory. Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
It's great to have you. A little bit of a backstory, because this is something different that I recently started in 2019, where I'm taking some guests, which are, for the most part, friends and partners of mine, through a Hang 10 series. So the backstory is, and I grew up skateboarding, and when I was in the military, I picked up surfing, which is actually I don't want to say a sister sport, because skateboarding came from surfing when there wasn't any waves. It's how sidewalk surfing started. But anyway, I picked up surfing and surfed mostly off of the Atlantic, off the coast of Virginia, North Carolina, a little bit of the Gulf of Mexico as well. But anyway, I loved it. It was a combination of, it was a great way to escape, just clear your head. It was athletic. I was in the water, which I'm from the Gulf Coast. I'm from the Gulf of Mexico. So it really made me feel at home, and it just took you to a place, with interacting with nature like you wouldn't believe. So as a play on that, I'm taking my guests through the Hang 10 series, where we go through 10 questions and we take a deep duck dive into their knowledge and wisdom so that they can too pass on, what's helped them benefit their business and their lives. So before that, I want to say these are my friends as well as my partners. And I would like them to take this opportunity to tell the audience a little bit more about what they do and who they are.
Thank you very much, Dino. Thanks so much for having us.
You're welcome.
So I'm Pili Yarusi.
And I'm Jason Yarusi. And so we are here in New Jersey. We come from a family construction business, and we flip houses locally here in New Jersey and buy multifamily properties out in the Midwest with a couple hundred units under management currently. And that's continuing to be our focus. And how we align with Dino is, of course, through building our team. We meet the right people, and Dino is one of them. We're very happy to be on the show today. Thank you so much for having us on.
So grateful.
Yes, well, thank you. The feeling is mutual. I'm excited to have you. So are you ready to hang 10?
Yes, please.
Okay. So the first question that we have queued up for you today is, number one, what was your aha moment? And what drove you towards real estate versus any of the other millions and millions of options there is to do with your life?
I'm going to let you take this one.
Sure. So I think it came down as, my father and I had this talk for a while, but it always comes that threshold is that you can talk about things that you want to do forever. I want to, create the next big thing. I want to open a restaurant. I want to do whatever. And there were a lot of series of our events. We were back helping run the family construction business, and it's very labor intensive work. And we wanted to find other avenues to the point of being able to find cash flow without having to do so much activity, because just the business we're in now, I think at the time we decided we had about 60 or 70 active projects as a 10-man company going on at the same time, and it was a lot of work. So at that point we were just banging our heads against the wall. Good problems to have, all the work, but in the same part we wanted to find an outlet. And that's where Pili came in, and we talked about her getting her.
I got my real estate license. So kind of the tipping point for me is that we got pregnant with our first child. So everything just sort of made sense. We had a construction company going, and it was very, very intensive. We had our new baby coming, and Jason and I come from a restaurant background as well. We were living in New York. I was like, we're not raising a kid in New York.
Nor are we staying up till 5 a.m.
No,
So,
we're not gonna
right.
The kids find a way to make that happen. But at that point, we decided that this was a great avenue to meet our goals, find our destiny, and get our lifestyle.
Awesome. I like it. Okay. So number two, if you could go back and have a discussion with your younger self, what age would you be? What would you say, and why?
sure what age. I guess this could be at any age, but maybe let's pick 12, 13. I would tell myself to not be so afraid, to take the leaps, to take the opportunities that you are given throughout your life as they come. Don't wait, maybe do your due diligence and think a little bit, but definitely jump more. I'm a very, very cautious person when it comes to change. You can ask Jason, he's like pulling me over. I'm just like, no, I can't do it. And I realized it was a good experience, good thing to jump into. So yeah, for me, it's take the leap. Don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid to be afraid.
Yeah, don't be so serious. I think on this point, maybe, somewhere in late high school, college, is that you can do a lot in a little amount of time. And what happens there, you don't have to be so worried about taking the next step, because ultimately you have a lot of different ways to create a better life for yourself.
Yeah. So, and the reason you're saying you would go back to those ages and say those things, the biggest reason why, why would you go back? Do you think you could be even further advanced than you are now, or?
It would always, our point, I think we always focus on right now, is focus, and that seems to be the one thing we always struggle with, and just ideally creating that clarity and what we want to do has really helped our life. And there's always, as you're younger, just finding the right guidance, that's where confusion comes from, because you're just lost in, am I too late to do this? Am I too old to do this? Am I not ready to do this? But ultimately, you're only ready right now. So just go for it and do it.
Yeah, 100% agree. We talked about this on the last, I was just on an episode of yours that hasn't aired yet, but we talked about that. That Zig Ziglar says, if you wait to leave the house, all the lights are on green, you're never going to go. And it's the same thing with children, starting a business. I mean, if you wait till you're financially ready to have a child, you might be 90 before you feel. So it's like, you just make it happen and take that big action. So I like that.
I have a Rockefeller quote for you, which goes right in your line. So no smooth sea ever made for a fine sailor.
That is true. That is true. And I have been through hurricanes while it's serving in the United States Navy. We take ships. I don't know if people realize, I didn't know this until I was served in the service, but when hurricanes come, we actually take the ships out because we are better off than tied to the port where they're just going to get banged. Yep. So we had the luxury of literally riding out the storm. And I saw on an aircraft carrier sailors that were like salty, who had been there 5+ years, getting seasick on a carrier during hurricanes.
Wow.
Yeah. But what did that do? It goes right to your point. That's how they became sailors. Number 3, who has been the most influential person in your life and or your career?
I think I know where you're going to go. You can go first.
Me?
Yeah.
Actually, I have a list of people that I could spout off. But I'm gonna say the first person that came to mind, Jason.
I like it.
Most influential person in my life and career is Jason.
Well, I appreciate that. It wasn't what I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say your grandma, but I appreciate that. So, but no, it is. I think Pili and I found ourselves at the right time.
Yeah.
We had known each other for 13 or 14 years before we got together. Mm-hmm. And it just created a path for us that it didn't ultimately change who we are, but it allowed us to find who we are through each other. So,
and become more of the persons we were supposed to be.
Right.
We're supposed to have.
I love it.
But best time is now, right?
That's right.
That's right. Best time is now. And hey, that just goes to show how, I love power couples. So you guys, just proved right there what it takes and what it looks like. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Number 4, what has been the most instrumental tool that you use in your business? Now, it could be a piece of technology, it could be a piece of paper. Just what has been the most instrumental tool in business?
Can I say Jason again?
A partner, of course.
No, but seriously, having having the right partner, and it doesn't always, it's not always your spouse. It's sometimes your friend, relative, not your relative, but having that key person in your life, that key person that makes everything make sense is really the only way you're going to get further.
Yeah.
Like even Dino, even you're sort of a one-man show. You're not sitting with a partner right now, but you have multiple
Yes.
partners that you
Yes.
work with that make you whole. Same thing with me and Jason. We make each other whole, and that's a key component of our business.
I have so many different things going on at so many different times. It's been trying to find things that can trigger events without me having to be involved.
Yeah.
And so right now, Pili has been pushing me forever to get on Asana for our flipping projects. And now we're on Asana for all our projects, and literally allowing tasks to be delegated and without me having to be and triggering when my activities needed or when another person is needed. That would be from a flipping side. A multifamily side, we're working to use a CRM now that's helping us track our investors better, and just getting more automated with the process, right?
Sure.
So not just one tool, but it's tools that are allowing us to really make the process easier. It's like, for construction, I wear the same thing every day. Like, just I take that out of the way, just so I don't have to like screw around with it. And so that's why when I'm like feeling, I have 73 pairs of socks. I can't find any of them. They're the same one.
Sock monster.
It's a sock monster.
Right.
Or the same WA shirts, right? So I just keep ordering more. That's it until they're all gone. But I just wear the same thing just to try and make it easier and easier and easier in rotation, just to take out, because there's too many decisions to make every day.
Yeah.
And that's where you lose your time. They spend 3 hours getting dressed or 5 hours for what you're going to do for lunch, or just, exaggerating. But
Right.
there's enough time to get after your goals, but make the things simple that should be simple.
Correct. I love it. Okay. So number 4, what has been the best or most influential book? Now, this includes audiobooks, because a lot of people, I know I was just talking to one of my partners, as you mentioned, and she was saying, she was telling me about a book she was reading. I was like, oh, I did that on audio. And she's like, well, what do you think I'm actually reading it? It's audio. So audio, it could be podcast, movie, documentaries. What's helped you throughout life and real estate? Most influential.
Well, for me, I have 2. I have The One Thing by Gary Keller and Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. One Thing really just started me on a path of focus, because I need it every day in my life. I'm very scattered if I don't have like everything written down, everything, like basically having my calendar tell me what to do on
Right.
this hour at this minute. So having the one thing, being told that, instead of trying to multitask, humans are not very good multitaskers. It's a lie. You pick that one thing, that most important, it's usually the most uncomfortable thing in your day, and you just get it done. The rest will just come. It'll
Correct.
just come, it'll flow, and it'll be good. That's usually what happens to me every day.
Yeah.
That I do get my one thing done. The days I don't, don't talk to me. So, and then
it's true, right? It's definitely true, because right, our mornings, because with kids, they're amazing, but they have their own direction when they get up. There's no set direction sometimes when they get up, and I don't know, they're starving, or they somehow got peanut butter in their hair. Whatever happens, like it just goes. And so if you don't have your time for yourself to really set your day right and set yourself on the right track, the day can go in a different direction than you anticipate very quickly.
Well, and that brings us to The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. So Jason's really good, really regimented, wakes up, does it, and gets on with his day. I'm usually with our 5-month-old. Sometimes he wakes up at 4:30. Sometimes he wakes up at 5. Sometimes he's up all night.
Mm-hmm.
But I have realized, especially in the past month, that I just need to do it and get it done. So if I have to, I'll wake him up, feed him, put him back down. 4:30 in the morning, have my quiet time.
Yeah.
You need it. You need to wake up on the right note. Because I almost didn't do that this morning, and my day almost blew up.
Yeah.
But taking that time for yourself, it's key.
Yeah, I think it's constantly evolving. I just and read, right? Same thing, Audible. But Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willis was really good. Just talking about just various levels of just taking control of yourself, and that helps you more. There was one good part in there where he was talking about the SEAL teams doing their test, and the team that kept losing, the leader was getting so upset with the team and everything else, and he was constantly getting down on himself. And the team that kept winning, and he kept blaming the team, saying it was the team's fault. He couldn't do it because the team. The team that kept winning, they'd won. Like, the other team was coming in eighth, this team was coming in first. The SEAL operator or commander took the head guy from the winning team every time and putting him on the losing team, and the head guy from the losing team onto the winning team. And ultimately, then the losing team that was getting eighth place every time is ultimately now winning every race. And now the winning team, because they had poor direction, the right leader, not the right mindset or mind frame, was now not winning, even though now the guy who's blaming his team had the best team in there. So it really comes down to just taking control and taking of what you can control, yourself and your actions.
The only person you can change is yourself.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and the only thing constant is change. And I like what you said about we're not made for multitasking, which is so true. It's kind of like you think you're multitasking, but you're not. If I'm on a phone call or I'm doing this podcast right now and someone walks into that door and says, I need XYZ, and I say, okay, here's what you need to do. Boom, 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 go handle it. I think I multitask, but actually I just stopped, and started again. And the more we could reduce startup moments because we're laser focused on the thing we're actually doing. So the right answer would have been to lock all the doors so no one can get to that door, so that I don't have the start and stop up. So I'm in alignment with that and understand and agree with it wholeheartedly. Daily habits, and some of this we probably might have touched on, but some of the daily habits or rituals that you perform help you stay focused and be successful.
Yeah, it's the miracle morning. I think we both touched on it. Just making sure we can start the day in the right format, and having that process down for working out, where we have our cycle in the morning too for working out.
Yeah, any day I don't, my day explodes and I can't function. So even now I'm stuttering thinking about not getting my day started off right.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to get back on track if it doesn't start off on the right.
And don't allow yourself not to do it. So say you wake up late, or the kids wake up early, or something happens in the morning that throws you off. Take a moment, cry about it, write something on Facebook that's bad, go back and erase it.
Yeah.
Take that moment to allow yourself to just kind of like blah, and then turn around and get over it. Just have your moment, let yourself be blah, and then get over it. And then start over again. You're allowed to start over again.
Yeah.
Take that time for yourself.
All right. So that was the ritual, stay focused. Number 7, what's the best piece of advice you would give to someone just starting out as a real estate investor? And you could be specific, because I know even that word, when I say real estate investor, it could be someone who invests passively. It can be an active. It could be a residential redeveloper, a developer.
Surround yourself with people that are doing it successfully in whatever niche you want, and no new thoughts. Follow their plan. There's a million different ways you can do real estate, but whatever way you want to do it, people are doing it successfully. You're not smarter than everybody else. I'm sure not smarter than probably 18,000 times the people I surround myself with. Yeah. And I just follow what they do, and it allows me, 1, to take out the thought process of me trying to create some new idea, and 2, allows me just to follow a proven process that works.
I have nothing to add. All of that.
Yeah. No, I like that, because someone that I plug into and follow and look up to, he says we have too many options, and all these options could be great people and be very successful. However, what he does is he chooses one person every year, and he said, this is who I'm plugging into. This is who I'm reading and consuming, and I'm going to follow this person's action. Because otherwise, even though you've got 2 people both very successful, they might have different methods. So find the one that you're aligned with, and don't reinvent the wheel, and go all in.
We had someone at our meetup, and I was laughing because he was like, I think I'm going to start with buy and hold, and then maybe I'll do Airbnb, or maybe I'll do wholesaling, or maybe I'll wholesale houses, or maybe I'll do multifamily. And I was like, well, what if you wholesale apartment buildings? He was like, oh, why would I do that? And I was like, no, I'm just kidding. I was like, just pick one of them. Because you're not, it's not like your feet are stuck in concrete. You have to do it for the rest of your life, right? Just start with one of them. Commit 6 months to yourself. See if you even like it. You know, you may start flipping and be like, I hate this. You know, like, or wholesaling, like, oh, I don't feel like this is right for me. Like, but then you can pivot. But give it 6 months. Don't give it 20 minutes or, you know, an hour, and then you hear a podcast. And because podcasts are absolutely wonderful, but they can, you know, if you're listening to podcasts with multiple levels of real estate, you can, every day you could find something new to do. Today I'm going to do tax strategies. You know, next week I'm going to do lease options. You know, the following week I'm going to do flipping. The next week I'm going to do apartment buildings. The next week after that, you know, buy and hold. Then I'm going to do the burst strategy. Yeah. It never stops. And Pili's laughing because that's me. Like, no, but I do too. But I always, here's what I like. I like to take those strategies and find how they implement, right? And so what you can do is find parts of it that work in your business. So if you can take a large apartment building and maybe put some short-term rentals in it, okay, great. If you can find some corporate rentals that go with the strategy that works for them, great. So yes, not saying don't and just pitching yourself so you don't learn everything. But this is why you have Miss over here who doesn't like change, because then she beats you back.
Yeah. I get it. I understand. I understand 100%. It's, you got to just don't reinvent, find that one thing and go for it. And like you said, we have so much time. I think that's one of the things that really has kind of hit me recently, is that we really have more time than we're led to believe that we have. So you might have someone in their late 30s, even early 50s, broad range of 20s, even 60. If you like what you're doing and you're plugged in and your craft makes you happy, it's not too late. So you choose that one thing. And so maybe I'm 60 years old and I've been doing this other one thing and I'm ready for a change, or I'm finally ready to follow my passion. And I realize I have another 25, 30 solid years, in today's modern technology and how we are with medicine, to really like dig deep, not live with regret, and go for it.
Yeah, exactly. And well, for instance, like when Jason and I first got started, we used our construction background and we lift buildings. So we're like, well, why don't we do that? Why don't we lift a house, add square footage, and then flip the house that way and renovate it and put it back on market? I mean, that's great. That's a great value add. But so we did that, and we almost failed miserably. We didn't have any of the systems or anything in place, but we jumped into it, did it, and then we're like, okay, let's try something different. We know how to do that. So we got into wholesaling. We got into just regular flipping, like putting lipstick on a pig.
Yeah.
And we started getting into multifamily, and Jason's a serial entrepreneur, and I'm like, okay, we're also starting a family. But without doing all this stuff, we might have not been able to focus back and learn to focus, because now we're actually going back to lifting and flipping.
The original strategy is the one that gives us the most value. We were getting stuck because there was a lot of things within the business we do that are out of our control, within like utility disconnects, permitting process. But we found ways to streamline that and cut, a couple months off our timeline. And you can imagine with any process, if you can, facilitate the movement of money quicker, you make more money.
And doing that allows us to spend more of our time in the multifamily aspect as well.
Right. Yeah. And I've seen, so it's mind-boggling. It blows your mind if you don't come from that background. I saw a video that you two had posted on, I believe it was Facebook, which was showing one of a move. And it is really, you're like, how does this happen? Like a magic trick or something. But it was like a time lapse. I don't know if you had a drone or how it was really done professionally, but I was like, wow.
That was my dad and my brother. I find them, they move them. Right? So I get the easy part, but yes, they are very skilled at what they do.
Yeah. Okay, so we are on number 8. What's the one thing, we talked about one thing several times, but what's the one thing that you would have done differently when you first started real estate investing?
Quicker. Go quicker. Don't put your toe in the water. Just jump in. And that's it. Because ultimately, you got to have failure and fail forward. But generally, the nice thing about real estate, I mean, you can lose it all, but generally, like, if you're flipping a $500,000 house and you're usually some part leveraged, that if you say you lost money, right? You typically don't lose $500,000. Maybe you lose like $10,000 or $15,000, but you're so worried about that point, like, well, how can I flip a $200,000 house or an $80,000 house? Because generally it's not all in. You generally have some part of leverage that's against you. Not to say don't do your due diligence and at least have some process around yourself, the right people, but jump all in because you find what you need as you go. Right. It's like, even like, like raising money or just getting an apartment. You don't know the questions asked or how to talk to people until you have the conversations, because you may have one investor that just wants to know, hey, if I give you this amount of money, how much do you anticipate this return will be over a certain amount of time? Then you have another investor that wants to know about the property management company, the local market, the building, the plumbing, the whole nine. So you want to understand each different person so you can have that talk track with each investor.
Yeah.
I agree. I really have nothing to add to that, because I wish, especially with the multifamily aspect, we had just had our first child. We had just gotten another bulldog, and we are just starting to systematize our flipping and wholesaling business. And Jason's like, guess what we're going to do? We're going to buy large apartment buildings. I'm like, what? No. I did a whole turtle shell. Don't do that. I'm going to stay in my nice little box that we're creating here.
Yeah.
Generally, I have ideas, and if I pound on the idea long enough, she lets me do it, kind of thing. Although I didn't get that Duck Dynasty, Duck Donut franchise I wanted, even though they did open one. I said this would be a great market for it. And what happens after 8 months, they open up a Duck Donuts because right down the street, I knew it was going to be a good market for it. But we'll see. We'll test it on how well they do.
Yeah.
So I may go in there every day just to boost sales, but besides that, we're not going outside of what we're doing right now.
No. So yes, fail forward.
Fail forward. I like it. Yeah. Take action. Dream big. Start bigger. Find someone that's already doing it. Don't reinvent the wheel. Just like do what they do. Success is the result of doing certain things a certain way. So if one can do it, so can another. Okay, number 9. So if you had to choose one, I like this one. If you had to choose one, would it be to have, here is $1 million right now and it's liquid today? Or would you choose the alternate, which is to travel back in time, being able to take all of the knowledge and wisdom that you have right here, right now, and start over? And why?
I take the money all day.
Okay. She's taking the money.
I have a lifetime of mistakes that I've learned from that I would never want to not have. And I mean, it sounds great to go back, but then would I come back to this point? I mean, every decision you make on a daily basis, no matter what knowledge you have, changes the course of your life. And it doesn't matter if you know everything. The people that you surround yourself with, the people you come in contact with, the people you're driving next to affect your life. So it doesn't matter what you know, because everybody else has a say in your life, whether you like it or not. So I'll take the money.
Okay.
I could do both of them, and that's a weak answer. But I just say the point about the money now is that I feel I have the tools and I have the confidence in place that now I would be able to put that to work for people or others and be very successful with that. Going back with that knowledge, same thing. That's going to come back to, there's so many different things. Like, where am I putting? Am I putting 2007? I'd kill it, like it with what I have now, like right. if I was in, a different time, you think about all the knowledge you have in so many different aspects. Where do you get put back in time, and how are you going to use it? And which strategies would you have to change or pivot with? Yeah. So not a wrong answer. I mean, you can go both ways and just look at it from the opportunity that would be there, right?
Well, plus we got a couple of deals that could use $1 million.
That helps. Yeah, no, I agree. If you give me the billion now, I know exactly what to do with it. Having said that, if I could take everything that's in this brain and go back to whatever X age, it's like I know the roadmap. And so the things that I wish I would have done differently, I have that opportunity again. But then again, to your point, it's like for me, it's like since my oldest is 9, my daughter is 9, and this has been literally the fastest 9 years of my life. The slowest 4 years were the years that I was in the service because I was young. It was real life. It was some tough situations. But looking back on it, it seemed like a day was a year. But looking back on it, although that might have been some of the toughest times for me, the lessons learned and what it did, it made me who I am today. So I wouldn't go back and say, well, I wouldn't do that again because actually it was probably the best thing that I did, for many reasons.
Yep.
Okay, so number 10, what excites you, what juices you, as they say, and what projects are you currently working on?
You want to start me?
Go ahead.
I just think the way that we're positioning our future, that's what's exciting. We had a really good look back at 2018. Just all the highlights. We made a highlight reel for just really a family video. It was just great. And just looking forward at 2019 and just the path we're taking. And we just know it's going to ultimately pay off. And there's going to be, we're going to fail. It just happens, right? But we're going to have so many success on top of those failures and learn from what we've done that I'm just really excited to see the direction it's taking, because sometimes you don't have the validity to see if it's actually working, but I feel confident in the path we're taking and just the success we've had. And right now I feel like the direction has finally come together, because sometimes you're throwing things at the wall as you're figuring it out to see what's making the most sense. And now it's the mud's starting to become like the Picasso. Yeah.
Right.
What Jason was saying, like this year, the word is focus. We've circled back in our flipping business to the one thing that we started out with, which was lift and flips.
And used everything we've learned at the last couple of years to make this so quick and efficient, and now amplified it, going from, buying one house here and there where we have like 5 we're buying now, and with others, I'm just to the point that it's easy because now we know the process.
So now that we have that solidified and that's actually taking shape and it's becoming our niche, it's becoming something we can do that others can't. We can focus more of Jason's energy, my energy, our team's energy on multifamily, on providing for our children, which is why we got into this in the first place, or why I did in the first place, to take that to the next level.
Yeah, we're working on, I have a couple multifamily projects. We're working to get to the finish line, and that's awesome. We're very excited. Everybody's saying there's no deals out there. Sure. Well, there are deals out there, but you have to do the work. You gotta keep working, and while everybody's just saying it's not happening, you have to find how it is happening, because people are buying buildings, and there's opportunities out there always on the high side and the low side. Wherever we feel we are in a cycle, there's always opportunities where there's some seller who has a motivation to sell for some reason that is a good situation for us to be able to help them. And so we're always looking for those opportunities, and you can think outside the box of how you're going to find it. We just found one through a lawyer, found one through a property management company, through a cost segregation company, through a letter, through Craigslist. If you think you can't, well, chances are you're right. But if you think you can, you're also right.
Yeah.
And that's also Zig Ziglar right there. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. And we're actually all speaking at the same virtual conference next Friday, not this one, but next Friday. And that is actually the panel that I'm on. Is we're going to be discussing the state of the union for the 2019 outlook on multifamily. And I think that because we play in the same space, correct me if I'm wrong, but we are providing B and C class workforce housing. We're helping the backbone of our economy have a safe, affordable place to live, creating a community for them. And no matter what the market does, as long as you have your debt coverage ratio right, you don't over leverage, you're in the right place in the right market, we are always, the demand is outpacing the supply. That's a great problem to have. Again, no matter what the market does, Just like the stock market's going up and down, well, rent is still rent. It didn't affect anything on that contract. So yes, you might, as an operator, have to lower your rent a little, but your occupancy is going to be out the roof, because no matter what, people need shelter and they need a safe, affordable place. So I'm actually, as you are, we're buying, and I believe that 2019 is going to be another year. If one can do it, so can another. So if Jason can find off market through his property management companies, or get pocket listings, or his cost segregation companies bringing, guess what? You can too. Be patient, stick to your underwriting guidelines, and they're there.
Slow drips, follow up, slow drips every week. Just touch base,
Yes.
touch base. And, you don't need to buy 5 houses a month or 5 houses at a time for multifamily. You can buy one building a year, one building every 2 years, one building every 5 years. So if you're buying the right opportunity, you can do a lot of damage.
Sure. Okay, well, before I close out the show, I want to thank you so much for hanging 10. It's been great. I know the listeners are going to get a ton of value from this, which is what our aim is. Tell us how we can, or how the viewers, the listeners, can get a hold of you and contact you.
I would say best way is email. Pili@yarusiholdings.com or jason@yarusiholdings.com. You can find us at yarusiholdings.com.
And also the Real Estate Investing Foundation podcast. We have some awesome guests like Mr. Dino Pierce on, and his second episode's coming up shortly, so stay tuned. We got some dynamic things there. Dino, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for being with us. So I hope you found this information helpful. And whether you're here for the education or the entertainment, if you know someone that's having trouble finding the right place to put their money and make it go out there and sweat for them, do me a favor. Please tell them about this information. I don't have anything to sell, but I am on a mission, and I will continue to have quality guests like the Yarusis and provide consultative, quality education for people on this phenomenal alternative investment. This is Dino Pierce, CEO of Edified Equity, signing off with the Yarusis. Make it a great day. You certainly deserve it. Goodbye.